much hasn't happened. You know, at the end of the first season, I was like, okay, well, what happens now? But we have a few more characters already in the beginning of the first season that come in and mess up our lives even more. We start in the Hamptons, which is a staple of New York socialites that you haven't yet seen. And, you know, we've all kind of dated each other, so we have to date more people or each other's parents and...
Blake Lively keeps warning us about a ghost she calls a smear machine. But as a kid, watching Scooby-Doo reruns, I learned to follow the clues and critically think. You can't just listen to the people telling you not to meddle, not to look too closely, and just trust their story. Blake has sworn so many times that she's the victim of a smear campaign, it's starting to sound like the chorus of a bad pop song. The problem is, ghosts don't leave paper trails, and thanks to all the court filings, we've got one. And when you line up what a real smear campaign would actually look like and compare it to what's happened, the math doesn't math. The receipts aren't there, the leaks aren't there, the sabotage isn't there. The only thing that looks coordinated is Blake herself trying to silence critics and control the story. So stick with me, we'll follow the clues, and at the end, we'll see who's behind these hijinks. So first of all, we have to ask, what would a real smear campaign actually look like? It wouldn't be vague whispers in court filings or one stray headline, it would be everywhere. You'd have anonymous insiders close to production feeding tabloids lurid details about Ryan storming onto set, screaming at crew, threatening divorce in front of everyone. Claims that Justin had to bring his wife in just to keep Blake from making advances towards him. Maybe even a conveniently timed exclusive showing, edited behind-the-scenes footage to make Blake look erratic. Add in anonymous blogs repeating the same lines, bot accounts amplifying them, and glowing puff pieces about Justin as the perfect husband and father. That's a smear machine. It's coordinated, relentless, and impossible to miss. But none of that happened. During the time Blake swears she was being targeted, the media was quiet. There were no bombshell leaks about her behavior on set, even though Justin's countersuit later spelled out plenty of dirt that could have been weaponized. Nobody published exposés about Ryan disrupting the crew or rewriting scenes. Nobody dropped stories about her overspending on wardrobe or firing staff. If a machine existed, summer would have been its launch window. Instead, nothing surfaced. The harshest coverage was fans replaying old clips of Blake being snappy in interviews. That's not sabotage, that's reruns. Meanwhile, Wayfarer bent over backwards. They shifted schedules, gave Blake wardrobe approval, even let Ryan linger around set despite not being attached to the film. He wasn't just visiting, he was hovering like an unpaid hall monitor. Crew said little, but his constant presence read like oversight, as if the Golden Husband brand doubled as quality control. That doesn't look like a company trying to smear her, it looks like one trying to survive her. Now, let's flip the lens. What did Blake actually do? She made smear the star of her show. Every filing, every motion, every leak from her camp hammered it in. She subpoenaed YouTubers and TikTokers, smaller creators who she thought couldn't fight back. And when the optics turned ugly, she quietly withdrew those subpoenas like hitting an undo button. That isn't strength. That's pressure tactics with a safety net. And all the while, Ryan was right there, reinforcing the narrative, standing guard, keeping the illusion intact. Because here's the thing, this whole ghost story feels like a Scooby-Doo episode. The haunting is never real. It's always someone in a mask, usually with a partner helping set the stage. Blake was the one shouting, "There's a ghost after me," while Ryan lurked in the background, making sure no one peeked behind the curtain. If Blake sold the ghost story, Ryan worked the lights and smoke machine. Together, they built the illusion of a haunting, and when the clues are followed, the trail circled right back to them. And here's the logic hole in Blake's case. If Justin truly wanted to bury her, why didn't he drop the worst details when it mattered most? Why didn't we see leaks about firings, delays, wardrobe chaos, or Ryan's interference when she was already getting dragged for floral costumes? That's PR 101. Instead, none of that surfaced until the countersuit, long after the supposed smear machine had done its damage. A real campaign would have rolled out the grenades early. The silence tells you everything. Wayfarer wasn't attacking, they were waiting. But one of the craziest things to happen is that Blake did manage to uncover a smear campaign. The problem is, it wasn't against her. It was Rebel Wilson's case, where emails literally said, "Who cares about the truth?" while setting up smear websites. Imagine spending a year screaming you're haunted, only to find out the ghost lives in somebody else's story. So, when you strip away the theatrics, the only documented campaign is Blake and Ryan's. They're the ones trying to intimidate critics. They're the ones spinning filings like press releases. They're the ones rattling the chains while pointing at shadows. And the internet? The internet doesn't scare easy. If anything, every attempt to silence people just amplified the story further. And that's the tragic irony. If Blake had kept her claims tight, backed by credible witnesses and provable facts, she might have had a case people respected. Instead, she inflated it into a grand conspiracy about a smear machine and dragged Ryan right into the middle of it. Campaigns leave tracks, coordinated sabotage leaves receipts. And the only trail anyone can follow loops back to them. The more she insists she's the victim, the more people see her and Ryan as the ones running the very machine she swore was haunting her. So here's the question. If there's really a smear campaign, where are the receipts? Where's the trail? Because the only campaign I can actually trace belongs to Blake and Ryan. And maybe that's the cruelest twist of all. She wanted to be the tragic heroine taken down by a conspiracy. But when the mask finally comes off, the ghost haunting Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds was them all along.